Hello, I hope everybody has had a really good spring semester, and I welcome you to the summer term. Now, I realized that yesterday was the first day, sorry about the wiggle, just trying to adjust my computer screen. I realized that yesterday was the first day of the summer term, an email to everybody. There was one assignment that I had to remove that a couple people were asking questions about. When I copied over the previous term uh, to this new term, I did not realize I hadn't removed all of the extraneous assignments. Excuse me. And I wanted to go over stuff really quickly. I noticed that people are already starting to turn things in. I wanted to go over things a little bit right at the beginning here. And I want to tell you a little bit about the class. And then Thursday night, I'm going to be doing the first of my weekly class discussions, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how attendance works and doing regarding each module, as well as an overall view of the class and assignment due dates, so that everybody kind of has an idea of what's going on. The first thing is we are meeting virtually, so we don't really have an in-class meeting at a normal schedule. We would do a normal in-class meeting time, but that's why we're meeting online. Summer's a busy time for everybody, and I understand that. And I want you to know that I am happy, more than happy to be flexible. If there are you feel are rushed or you can't do them for whatever reason, just let me know. I have never turned down a request for an extension from anybody. Now, sometimes we have to do that because we have jobs, we have lives to live. Sometimes people let things get away from them. Um, an example of both is one person stopped talking to me for a couple of weeks. I had no idea what was going on. Found out that they were actually stuck in an airport in Argentina trying to get back to the US, and they had lost their internet connections, and they weren't able to contact me at all until they got back into the States. And we were able with their student guidance counselor at Utah Tech and get everything sorted out. Excuse me. Another example that's on the bad side is everybody's required to take part in the final. If you don't take part in the final, you can lose a full letter grade. Since we're online, we will be doing the final via assignments through our class. We don't have to, we're not going to meet on a specific day. But when I've done this class in person, we have a specific day for the final. And even though everybody knew all semester, the middle of the final one year, I got a call from somebody who was calling from the airport bathroom in Newark, New Jersey, apologizing for not making the final. You know, I think that's a bad example because they really didn't give me any options to work with. That is a little bit glitch. We got special permission because she was stuck in the air. So we had them call in and take part in the final through the speaker on a friend's phone. And that is, that's perfectly fine. And I hope it illustrates their problems with cars or whatever, your job. Let me know. I'm happy to grant extensions for assignments, and I'm happy to address your questions to clarify assignments on our weekly discussions. And that's what we're going to be doing on Thursdays is I prefer you come in person. I mean, not come in person, but take part in the Teams call. And I will send out a link to that meeting every Thursday. So you get it and you can link it, click in on at 7:30 p.m. But if you can't make it, that shouldn't be a problem because what what you're either attend live or watch it. And the way you get credit for it, each week, there will be an attendance assignment. I'll show you where all these are going to be located. That will show up. You watch the attendance assignment for that week. This week there will be two. You write down 5 things that you learned, either watching the recording or attending live, and you'll get the attendance points for it. Now, the reason I say I prefer if people come live is because this is less boring. And you can tell by my wonderful stage presence that boring is 3 of my middle names. So I prefer if people were there live. And several people have emailed me and said, yeah, we can do evenings after work. And I'm hoping that Thursday works out. I would like as many people as possible to attend. Now, like I said, attending live is not necessary to get a good grade, but most of the people that do attend live do get good grades. So that's a benefit too. Each week, what we are going to be doing for this class is going through a different section of history, a different part of the world. We're going to talk about the art. Your responsibility will be to go through the materials in the module. And on Thursdays, I will try to answer questions, try to give more context. Will you write your responses to the material that you came into contact with during the module? I'm sorry, the internet where I'm at is kind of fuzzy, so it's blinking in and out of our meeting. Um, Again, I apologize. Try to make this short so we don't have that going on too much. So I want to show you what this is going to look like. I'm going to share my screen. I'll talk through it a little bit. And then on Thursday, when I have better access to the internet, that's when we will have our first official class meeting. You'll be responsible for both of these, watching both of these recordings because they both help. And I'll show you where those recordings are going to be. I'm trying to share it. Here we go. All right, and here is don't worry about getting a lot of these supplies. We'll talk about them more as we get closer to each of the assignments. Standard nationwide for this type of class is about 165 bucks on supplies. I want you to do everything you can to spend as little as possible. You may have to spend $25 at the most, but I would recommend finding what you have and borrowing from the people that you know for the majority of your supplies, right? And you don't have to get everything now. Please don't consider doing that. Here's some general policies that I want you to read through. And we will be using AI for one of the projects inside our class. And this is actually going to be the result of about a 4-part project that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing 2 projects. One is a research, one is an AI project. And both of those, they are pretty heavy projects, but I split them up in portions throughout the semester. So the research one are in 4 or 5 portions. The AI one is in 3 or 4 portions. And we'll talk more about those as we go through the term. But I want people to be at least not afraid of AI and consider it a helpful tool, not an enemy. AI is not even the right term for this, artificial intelligence, because the chats and the different tools that we use that we call artificial intelligence don't demonstrate intelligence. We do as human beings, but AI is a vital tool. The term intelligence is misapplied because AI finds statistical similarities and statistical instances that seem to make sense within the parameters you provide it. It doesn't think on its own, and you should not use it to think for you. So you can use AI to help you if that's how you do research and things like that. But when you submit a written document, it needs to be in your voice. And if you do use AI to help outline your document or to help give you information and resources, you need to note that in your submission. And you can say, hey, I wrote this myself, but I used AI to help me with the research. And that is totally fine. Just like the camera, it's a tool to create art. Just like the computer, it's a tool to create art. Just like the pencil and paintbrush, it's a tool, or it can be a tool. It should not replace your thinking. The universe spent 14.7 billion years creating a world for you to exist. Don't disappoint it. Your voice is important. So read through all this. And meeting times, I tried to make sure that this is changed. If it shows up different in a couple different places, let me know and I'll fix it. And that's something that's really good too. If there's any links in this class, please be careful and let me know as soon as possible. Email me. And right here you have my email right here for the university, or you can email me through Canvas. And I also have my phone number right here. And you can text me with your name and course number so I know who you are. And I will answer your questions as soon as I possibly can. So I'm going to go right now to, well, Microsoft Education is how we'll be joining meetings. And if you click that link on your front page, it'll take you, as soon as this page loads up, it'll take you here and you can hit meetings or and I think meetings will take you to the page where it will show you where our meeting times are. But also every Thursday, I will send a link to everybody and it should also show up in your Microsoft calendar that you have for the school. Okay, so this is our modules page. And in attendance, you'll see we have, this is talks a little bit about attendance. We don't have roll call attendance, so we're not going to be using this link. And I talk a little bit about attendance makeups. I I don't think you really need to worry about this because if you stay up to date, you're going to be watching every week's attendance video. And after we're done with this, this is going to look different because I will attach another assignment here that will give you a link right to the recording of this video so you can watch it. And I want to show you what our YouTube channel looks like right now. This is what our class YouTube channel looks like. Our 1010, and this is for last semester. But I will give you a link directly to where the recording is for our class, for our YouTube channel. And when you go to do the attendance, this is where those links will show up. There'll be another assignment directly under this that says attendance for today. There'll be an assignment directly under that for Thursdays. And then every week thereafter, every Thursday night after class, I will have another attendance uh, assignment show up. And for full attendance points, you get 5 points. And all you need to do is write down 5 things that you learned or saw. Like I can tell that Professor Kosrock is wearing a Hawaiian shirt with a halo, and he has a halo background. He wears glasses. His hair and beard are nicely trimmed, and he's talking a lot about art stuff because this happens to be an art class, things like that, or things that you learn. If you hadn't heard it before during the class, that's excellent. Those types of things, just 5 points. And I do that so that I can validate that everybody's watched the actual video. And then each of these will start showing up. And you'll notice that there's 3 or 4 different little icons like this. This module 1 is for this first week, and it's called the divided mind. This first icon looks like a page where, and I'm going to blow it up a bit, looks like a page with the top right corner folded over. What that means, it's you need to read it, and ideally read it by this date. So this is Monday. And I understand if you can't read it all, that's fine, but I want you to read it as soon as you can. And on this, it shows Monday the 18th and Wednesday the 20th for when the things to get read. And as we go down, you see this icon right here. Here, it's a rocket ship. This shows a quiz, and the quizzes are worth 2 to 10 points. And all of the quizzes, if you miss any points, you can go back and retake them as many times as you need to get perfect points. And every couple of weeks, I'll go through and I'll write comments on all the quizzes. If you missed a couple of points, I'll tell you which questions to go back and double check and redo. They are all open book, which in this case, what I would recommend is have 2 tabs, one tab open to the module, and then the second tab with the quiz open on it. And you just go through the quiz, bouncing back and forth between the tab with the quiz open and the tab with the module open, so you can get the answers. All right. And then a third icon is going to be this, where you see a page that has a pencil on it. Those are the assignments that you actually have to do. So you do need to turn in the quizzes, but then these are the assignments you actually have to do. And there's going to be mostly 2 different kinds, a written reflection and a studio. The studio is when you do drawing. We'll talk about this on Thursday. And the written reflection is when you write. And there's almost always a word count component to this. This is a college class. Anytime you take a college class, any writing, unless the teacher tells you very specifically otherwise, all writing must be typed. So this, you can type into a separate document and upload the document as a file, or you can type directly in to the assignment for this. And for the studio, you need to submit photos. And we'll talk more exactly about this, what the studios are on Thursday. When we go down here, I'm scrolling down to find the 4th of those icons. Let's see if I can. You can see that there's a lot of quizzes. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here, and you can see, let's see, where is this? Right here. Here's the 4th icon. It has these 2 dialog boxes, and this is where a discussion. So we don't have very many of them. I had to scroll all the way down to the bottom to find those, but those are the 4 different icons. We have the rocket ship icon. We have the README icon right there. We have the assignment icon, and then we have the discussion icon. And we will talk more about those. Now, if we had a regular class together where I saw you in person, I could answer questions, we could go back and forth. We don't have that. So what I recommend doing is do the assignments as well as you can. And I will go back, and if I don't give you a perfect score, I will tell you why it's missing points. And all you need to do is go back, fix those issues, and resubmit it. Right? And then I will give you more points. So that's in lieu of us actually talking to each other in class. All right. So say for the studio drawing, this week you don't do everything and you miss half of it, then I will let you know why the points are gone, what you need to fix, and you have an opportunity to go back and rework the assignment and resubmit it. And that's for every assignment. I told you quizzes you can take over and over again. If there's any problem doing that, if the quiz won't allow you to retake it, let me know and I'll go back in and toggle it. I double checked everything. Everything should be good. If there's a problem, I will go back in and fix it so you can take the quizzes as many times as you need to. And on these, for Canvas, every time you resubmit an assignment, it overwrites all the previous submissions. So right here, the blind contour drawings, you're going to be doing two sets of drawings. And a lot of times people will submit more than two images. If you need to submit four images, but two of them didn't make it, and you need to resubmit those two, you'll have to resubmit all four images because, like I said, Canvas will overwrite all previous submissions. If there's any confusion about that, I'll let you know whether it works or not and what needs to be fixed. And then you can fix it and resubmit it. Do not accept a less than perfect grade on anything in my class. You always have an opportunity to work on it, get it better, and resubmit. So everybody can walk away with a perfect score. So this week we are talking about divided mind. And the studio has a direct relationship to the topic that we're talking through. I'll go over this more on Thursday. Next week, we're going to be talking about why is art important. You see it has a very similar setup. We have a quiz, we have written reflection, we have some studio designs to draw. Most of these assignments do not take very long, but it is absolutely vital that first you do it, and second, you follow directions. You do not need to be an artist to succeed in this class. You do need to be able to read and follow directions. All of you guys are college students. All of you guys are successful at what you do in your real lives, and all of you are incredibly intelligent. If you have any issues at all, let me know, and I will do whatever I can to help you. Right now, one other thing that we're going to be talking about on Thursday is I do talk about Feldman's model of artistic critique. By the time you're done with my class, you are going to sound super smart all about artsy stuff. And I want you to have that so that you sound smart. I I want you to show people that your college education was valid and really taught you something. So we're going to be talking about something called the tools of artistic critique, and I will talk about it probably in. I'll talk a little bit about it Thursday. I'll introduce it to you then, but that will start becoming more and more part of our assignments. And the Feldman's model of artistic critique is what we use to look at art in this instance, but you can look at anything you want. It applies to absolutely every field of jobs and every other thing you might come in contact with. But what I want you to do is what we will do is learn how to use Feldman's model of critique so you can sound super smart. Critique does not mean tearing something down. Critical does not mean being a jerk about it. Critical means with intent. Critical thinking means thinking with intent or thinking on purpose. And critique means close looking, looking with all your attention. And when you when you talk about how you see things through that and you use precision in your language, you find out that you really see a lot more than you think you do. And you observe a lot more than you think you do. So we'll talk more about this on Thursday. But I wanted to introduce you to this is kind of how things are laid out. And you can see all these fuzzy green circles show that people have already started doing these assignments and things. When you do assignments, one thing that you'll notice is you can't just go straight to the assignment and turn it in. I have this complete all items thing tab clicked. What that means is you have to go through each element of the module before you get to the assignments to turn in. This allows you to look over and discover what the context is for that week's module. And again, that's what we're going to be talking about on Thursdays. I wanted to mention a little bit about time for this class. Most of these assignments are not going to take more than an hour or two, most of them. It's it is vital that you go through and read and watch every element of each of these steps in each of the modules to be ready for this. Think it through, and then uh, this reading part and watching part may take you an hour or two each week. The quiz may take you 10 or 15 minutes at the most. Written reflection may take you another half an hour. And the studio work each week may take you an hour or two. So it doesn't take an awful lot of time, but I find that the people who do not wait until the end, the people who set aside a portion of time on a couple different days each and every week, they always do a better job getting a better grade and creating more work that they are really happy with than the people that just decide, oh, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait. And all of a sudden it's the end of the month or the end of the semester. They find out they don't have much time to do an awful lot of things. So I would recommend finding a place in your apartment that you can designate as your workspace and committing to an hour or two on each of 2 different days during the week that you can work on this stuff. All right. Since we're meeting on Thursday, maybe that will look like Monday is when you do your reading and your research, and Friday is when you or Friday or Saturday is when you do the studio work and the writing and the quiz. That's what I would recommend. And I find that everybody who takes that recommendation always does a better job. So again, we have the home. I want you to read that. We have the attendance, and this is where those attendance assignments will show up. I will link to that in after this video. I will send everybody an email with a link to that assignment for the attendance thing. And for the attendance, you just need to write down 5 things that you learned or noticed during the video. And then you start working on module 1. And again, before we meet, do all the reading that you possibly can and maybe take the quiz. And then after we meet, you can work on the reflection and the studio. All right. If you have any questions about the stuff that I've talked about, please email me and we'll address it on Thursday. I'm going to stop sharing. I am. I wanted to tell you a little bit about me uh, before we dive head on into everything. I was a computer engineer and I designed the fonts for word processing programs. This was way back in the 90s. I also kind of backed into doing stained glass and doing art at that time. About 26 years ago, I came across a book that was written by a medieval monk who worked with the guilds in Europe about 600 years ago. And he described all the things that the different people did and the different work that they did. And that fascinated me so much that I started really focusing on traditional arts. So I not only learned stained glass, but I learned how to do stained glass painting and I learned glass blowing as well. And I also started learning other traditional arts, like things like making paint, making paper, binding books, creating books, um, doing water marbling, doing stained glass from different cultures, like Turkish stained glass, working in different art in different cultures, concentrating on geometry and sacred geometry from different cultures. And some of the work that I did was discovered by people overseas. And several years ago, I was invited and I went to Iran, and 2 different universities um, worked together to educate me on different aspects of art and philosophy there. So I've been around in a lot of different places. I also am a pluralist minister, a pluralist chaplain, and a certified alchemist, if you can believe it or not. So a lot of different interests. So I've been working on art, but specifically art as it relates to cultural expression. I understand if you are not professional writers. Artists generally are not writers. If we could write, we would write. Since we don't, we create art. You may not consider yourself an artist. You don't have to consider yourself an artist to succeed in this class. What you do need to do is try to do a good job and follow directions and ask when you need help. And you will discover that you have the skills already within you that you could develop so that you can become an artist as well. Anyways, I look forward to seeing everybody again on Thursday, and I hope you have a wonderful couple days between now and then. And I'm really looking forward to working with you this semester. All right, I will see you guys later.